as hostage negotiations between Hamas and Israel continue. As John said, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, again, will repeat it, urging Hamas to take a, quote, extraordinarily generous deal offered by Israel. But will they accept that deal? That's the big question. Let's bring in our expert for the latest in negotiation, Israel's special envoy and outgoing deputy mayor of Jerusalem, Fleur, Hassan, Nahoum. Fleur, thanks for coming on.
Good evening.
Let's talk to you about this ceasefire. Do you think it can happen? What do you think this will look like?
Well, that's a great question. The problem really is that Hamas has been put up a tree by the entire world because for a month and a half, they've managed to achieve that we don't go into Rafah without them having to do anything or give up anything. And so at the moment, we've offered them another generous deal, as Antony Blinken said, and it's them being completely intransigent and not wanting to take any deal at the moment. And we have a problem. Ultimately, when you look back at the original hostage deal that we managed to do in November, we got back 100 hostages for 8 days of ceasefire. And now Hamas has gotten greedy and the demands have gotten much bigger. And Israel, at the end of the day, is committed to getting rid of Hamas. The United States wants us to get rid of Hamas. Saudi Arabia wants us to get rid of Hamas. And if we don't go in and finish off their 5 battalions that are left there, and we don't finish off the head of the snake, Yahya Sinwar, then we're not getting rid of Hamas. If Hamas is still on their feet at the end of this war, then we didn't achieve the objectives of the war, which makes Israel and the world a safer place.
Fleur, do you believe that Hamas is emboldened by the university protests happening at now over 100 colleges and universities in America?
Both Hamas and the Iranians have congratulated the young people of America for the protests. So if a terrorist genocidal regime that rapes women and cuts babies' heads off are congratulating you, you know that things are bad.
Absolutely, Fleur. Can you comment on the state of the hostages? We've heard former President Trump allude to the fact that maybe there could be some of them that are no longer with us. Do you have any intel about that?
Yes, Israeli intelligence believe that at least 30 of them have already passed. They've been killed, and that is very sad. There are different stories. Some people say there's 80-something alive out of 133. Some people think it's a bit more, and some people think it's less. But at the moment, we're talking about a hostage deal that would only bring us home 30 to 40 hostages. I don't understand why we're not talking about bringing them all home.
Fleur, just we're almost done with the segment, but I just want to ask you a question I know is not easy to answer in about 30 seconds, but how do you see this ending?
Well, there's only one way it can end, and that is the termination of the genocidal rule of Hamas, not just for Israel's safety, but for its own people. You can't imagine a world where Osama bin Laden would have been kept alive, right? And Al-Qaeda would have been kept alive after 9/11. We're in the same position.
Fleur, Hassan, Nahoum, we appreciate you coming on. Stay safe. Stop back soon. I wish you the best of luck. Thanks, Fleur.
Thank you.
All right, and